So, you're thinking about moving to Palm Coast, Florida, but you want to know more about the home appraisal process? That's exactly what we're going to cover in this video. If that sounds like something you're interested in, then stick around because we're going to get after it right now. Hi, my name is Stephanie Schulis with Keller Williams Realty. Thanks so much for joining us today. If this is your first time to the channel, please make sure to tap that button below to subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications so you can be the first to be notified anytime we put out brand new content all about Palm Coast, Florida living and moving to Palm Coast, Florida and the surrounding areas. We get calls, texts, and emails from people just like you looking to make the move to Palm Coast, Florida every day, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're thinking about making the move in the next 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, and we'll do everything we can to help you make a smooth move to Palm Coast, Florida. Today, we're talking about the home appraisal. Unlike a home inspection that examines things like crawl spaces, attics, cabinets, and everything within the home, and tells you if anything needs to be repaired or replaced, a home appraisal is the point of a home appraisal is to come up with an estimated market value for a particular property based on its characteristics and market conditions. After a visual inspection, the appraiser creates a report that examines how the value of the home was determined and what that estimated market value is. Although the value is ultimately the opinion of the appraiser, it's meant to be an unbiased expert assessment. While anybody can order an appraisal, a cash buyer, a seller who wants to have a better understanding of what they can sell their house for, most of the appraisals are done during the mortgage approval process. So that's once a buyer gets under contract. Once you've gone through the due diligence, you've decided you want to move forward with the property, your lender's going to order the appraisal to assure that the home's value is in line with what you're planning to pay. Because the property serves as loan collateral, the lender really wants to make sure you aren't over borrowing, which could result in a loss if you aren't able to make your payments. Even though it's the lender that requires the appraisal, typically it's the borrower who pays for it. Generally, home appraisals cost anywhere from $200 to $600. The national average is about $355, according to Home Advisor. Factors that affect the cost of the appraisal include the size of the home, the condition, the location, how detailed the report needs to be, and things like that. So, what is a home appraiser looking for during a home appraiser? Most appraisers use Fannie Mae's Uniform Residential Appraisal Report to evaluate a property's condition, size, layout, as well as other desirable qualities or potentially drawbacks from the home. So things like square footage, number of bedrooms and bathrooms, overall condition, any health and safety issues. We're also going to be looking at the surrounding area. Is it close to something that would be a big draw? Is it close to something that would be not a big draw? Power lines, airport, things like that. Once the observations are done, the appraiser moves into the analysis portion of the process. So that's when they start to compare it to homes that have recently sold in the area. When they're looking at homes that have recently sold in the area, they can go as far back as 18 months, but most appraisers are going to try to make sure it's really recent, especially in our ever-changing market, and they're usually looking at homes within the last 3 to 6 months. They're looking for homes that are going to have similar features, such as the age of the home, the size of the home, the amenities, and they really try and make sure that they're comparing as close to apples versus apples to oranges. The process of the home appraisal typically takes about a week, although that can vary a little bit house to house and kind of just the overall market condition and how competitive and busy everyone is. There are some cases in which an appraiser determines the home's value is lower than the agreed upon sales price of the purchase contract. This was very common during the pandemic, where the market was so competitive and the prices were driven so high that the report history just could not keep up. One of the things that we saw happen in those instances were that offers started to include an appraisal gap. An appraisal gap is when you agree to pay the difference between the sales price and the appraisal, and you agree to that upfront in your offer. So say the offer is for $350 and the appraisal comes in at $330. If you have an appraisal gap written into the contract, you as the buyer would be responsible for coming up with that additional $20,000. If you did not have an appraisal gap as part of the contract, and say the same example, $350 purchase price, but an appraisal of $330, you can try and negotiate with the seller to reduce the purchase price to the appraised amount. If there were multiple offers, probably not going to have success doing that, but it's always worth the ask. Another thing you can do is order a separate appraisal. There's no guarantee that the lender is going to accept the new appraisal, but it's certainly worth working with the lender and seeing if we can get a second opinion on the property, since it can be a little bit subjective. The other thing you can do if there's no appraisal gap written into the contract is you withdraw your offer. You do a release and cancellation. You would be out the money for the inspection or any other due diligence things that were done, and you would be out the cost of the appraisal. Another thing that can happen is that the appraisal comes in higher than the purchase price. This means that when you buy the home, you're going to have instant equity. So let's say that the offer price of the home is $350 and the appraisal came in at $370. This means you are moving into the home with $20,000 of equity. It's a beautiful, wonderful problem to have. If you have any questions about the appraisal process, you can leave a comment below, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. We always love hearing from you guys. That's it for this video. We'll see you on the next one.